Hello. The video I uploaded yesterday with the first video for the mystery knit along, I wasn't that happy with the quality of it, so I've actually changed the settings on my camera. I'm hoping this will be slightly better. So I'm going to show you again some of the key things in that video, and that is how to do the make one increase, how to do knit two together, double yarn over, SSK, how to knit those two double yarn overs on the next row, and how to slip a stitch. So I'm just going to show you some of those key things. So first, I've knitted up to where my marker is. If you haven't seen the pattern, you can download that for free now from my Ravelry pattern shop. So I got to my marker. Now just make sure that marker doesn't fall off. So I'm going to pick up the strand that goes between two stitches like that. So I tend to put my needle in from my right needle in from the back, so it's pointing kind of towards me. And then I just lift that up and put it on the left hand needle like that, and then I'm going to knit it through the back loop. Okay, now let me do that again. If I put it on my left hand needle and I knit it through the front loop, I'll basically end up with a hole, which is okay. You'll just end up with a row of yarn overs along here. But towards the end of the shawl, we're going to be decreasing. That means you'll get yarn overs along the beginning and you won't get it for the rest of the shawl, which will look a bit weird. So that's why I'm doing make one rather than yarn over. Also, if you put it on the wrong way on your needle, and then so now it's going from back across to the front. If I now knit it through the back loop, I'll still end up with a yarn over. So you have to make sure it sits in your needle like a stitch would. So it goes from the front across to the back. And then you can just knit it through the back loop. Okay, let's slip the marker, and then I'm going to knit one. I'm on row 7 now. I'm going to knit one, knit two together, which you just knit, put your needle into 2 stitches, just like you would 1 stitch, and knit them together. Then I'm going to do 2 yarn overs. 1, 2. Now I knit continental style, so that's how you do 2 yarn overs continental style. So I'll do that one more time, then I'll show you English style. So 1 yarn over, and I'll just take it over the right needle again. So you can see I've got 2 loops there on the right needle. So if you knit English style, you'll have your yarn in your right hand, take the yarn between the needles to the front, so that's 1 yarn over. Then you go to the back between the needles to the front again. So again, you get 2 loops across your needle. Okay, and then the next stitch is SSK, and I'm going to go back to continental because that's what I can do. Just making sure, keeping an eye on the focus on my camera here. So I'm going to slip one stitch knitwise, slip the next stitch knitwise. Now there are a few different options of SSK. Some people will slip one of those 2 stitches purlwise instead of knitwise, but slipping them both knitwise one at a time is kind of the standard way of doing it. You can also, instead of doing this, you can just do a knit 2 together through the back loop. As we're doing garter stitch, I don't think it'll make much difference. If we're doing stocking stitch, I definitely recommend SSK, but if you're doing garter stitch, I don't think it makes a lot of difference. So, right, let's do that again. Slip on knitwise, slip a second stitch knitwise. Then I'm going to take the left needle and I'm going to put it into the front of those 2 stitches from the left. So I'm not going to go that way. So the needles are both pointing in the same direction. I'm going to go that way. So the needles are pointing towards each other. And I'm not going in through the back, I'm going in through the front. So the left needle is towards you and the right needle is away from you. And now you can see that the right needle is just where you need it to be for you to knit. Okay, so I thought I was on row 7. I've just realized I'm actually on row 3. So which means I've made a mistake. Okay, so I'm just going back. I'm going to knit 2 more and then I'm going to do, hang on, let me just sort this out. Apologies for that. It's early on a Saturday morning and I didn't sleep that well last night. Okay, so I'm on row 3, so I've knitted 3, knit 2 together, yarn over twice, SSK, or you can do knit 2 together through the back loop. So slip on knitwise, slip a second stitch knitwise, left needle into the front of those 2 stitches from the left, like that, and then knit them together. If your needle falls out like mine just did, you can just go in through the back loop and knit them together. So I frequently get the question, what's the difference between SSK and just knitting 2 stitches through the back loop? And the difference is that with SSK, you're actually slipping the stitches first, which means that you're twisting them. So that's the difference, basically. Then I'm going to knit the next one. Now I'm knitting that one through the back loop. I added a link to the video yesterday. I tend to, for a tutorial that says improve the look of your lace knitting, I think it is. I knit all, so if I do a yarn over on the right side row, on the next right side row, I knit that yarn over through the back loop. So if I just show you with this one, if I knit that yarn over as normal, can you see I've got the yarn over there, then I got this like big wide open stitch above it. And it kind of basically looks like I've got 2 holes. So got the yarn over there. If I knit that stitch through the back loop, it just looks a little bit more defined. I'm just going to knit at the end of the row. I'll show you a bit further down so you can just see kind of what that looks like. But I have got a separate video on that called how to improve the look of your lace knitting, and I will link that. It was linked in yesterday's post, so have a look at that if you're interested, or it's in the list of tutorials on my website, www.yarnaddict.co.uk. Okay, so row 4, I'm going to slip the first stitch purlwise. So to do that continental style, I just take my needle under the yarn, put my finger on it, slip it off purlwise. So I put my needle in purlwise, slip it off. Then I just take needle tip and kind of go under the working yarn so that the working yarn slides to the back. That's continental style. Let me show you English style. Okay, so I'm not a very good English style knitter, as you may have gathered. So English style, you're going to hold the yarn in front of your right needle, put the needle in purlwise, and then take the yarn between the needles to the back. It's important that you don't go over the needle, because then you end up making a stitch. So if you find you're getting an extra stitch, it's probably because you're taking the yarn over the needle rather than between the needles. You don't have to slip the first stitch. I like the look of it. It gives you like a really neat edge, which I really like. But if you don't want to do it, or you keep forgetting, then just knit the first stitch of every row. The important thing is that you do the same thing every time. So I'm going to knit till just realized I actually forgot to do the yarn over on the previous row, the yarn over before the last 2 stitches. So I'm just going to do that here. If you forget to do a yarn over, just pick up that strand that goes between the 2 stitches, just like you do for the make 1, but this time just knit it through the front, and then you end up with a hole. So I'm going to knit till I get to that double yarn over. So that's my double yarn over. Now you can't knit them both as normal because it doesn't work. You can try it, but it doesn't work. You need to knit at least 1 through the back loop. You can knit both through the back loop, but you have to knit at least 1 through the back loop. If you had, say, 3 double yarn overs, you would normally do knit 1 through the back loop, knit 1. If you had 4, you do knit 1 through the back loop, knit 1 through the back loop. So every other one has to be through the back loop. So I'm going to knit the first one as normal, and then I'm going to knit the second one through the back loop. Okay, now what happens if you drop one? So if you get to that mark and you realize you've only done 1 yarn over, even if it's just a normal yarn over, it doesn't really matter. Just knit it, but don't take it off the needle. Leave that loop on the needle, and then you can just knit that through the back loop. Or if you knit the first one and accidentally pull the whole thing off the loop, so you lost your whole yarn over now, just put your needle in and put it back over your needle like that, so it goes from front across to the back, and then you can just knit it through the back loop. As long as you end up with a big hole with 2 stitches on top, it's fine. Okay, so that's the most important things from yesterday's video. I'm not filming on the white background today just because it's the weekend and everyone's downstairs. Having said that, everyone's downstairs all the time now. But I thought I'd just film this quickly on my bed because it'd be quicker than setting it all up downstairs, and the light's actually much better in here. So I hope that made sense. I'll be back next week with part 2. Do share your progress in the Facebook group, and I'll try and get a decent picture of this today to show you what mine looked like. I've got 3 reps left of part 1, 3 repeats left of part 1. So I hope you have a lovely weekend, and I'll see you next week.